Sometimes you will want to execute certain sections of code based on specific conditions. This is where Python conditionals come in. Here, you can use different comparison and logic operators to create these conditions. To start off, let's start with the if statement. Imagine you're comparing the scores of two gamers in a video game competition. So let's write some code here where we have a score, not scare, of gamer 1, which has, let's say, 280 points, and the score of gamer 2 has 350. So using the if statement, we can create a condition to check whether or not gamer 2's scores are higher than gamer 1. So we could do if score gamer 2 is greater than score gamer 1, double dot, then we do a small indent here, and here we could write the code that passes this condition. So here, if the score of gamer 2 is higher than the score of gamer 1, we want to print out this information to notify us. So we could print, for example, that gamer 2 has a higher score than gamer 1. And if we run this, we get the result that gamer 2 is indeed higher than gamer 1. But let's say we want to make this a smaller score, and we run this, then of course this condition is not met, therefore this does not get printed out. The next statement that we could use is the elif statement, or basically else if statement. The elif keyword is used for checking multiple conditions sequentially. So let's create a condition of checking of what day of the week it is. So let's say we set the day that today is Friday, for example, and we want to create a condition of checking whether it's Monday or Friday. So if the day equals Monday, so if the value of day is Monday, then we want to print start of the work week. And if we want to create another condition, that else if the day equals Friday, then we want to print weekend is here. And when we run this code, we get that the weekend is here indeed. So this is used to check multiple conditions. We first check the first condition, if the day equals Monday. If that is not true, then we check the second condition. And if that is true, then we print that value, and that is exactly what happened. Next, we have the else statement. The else statement catches anything not addressed by the preceding conditions. So let's say an example that we want to check the weather. So we have that the weather today is sunny. So we now have a condition for checking that if the weather is rainy, then we want to print don't forget your umbrella. Otherwise, else, you want to print enjoy the sunshine. And when we click play, we get enjoy the sunshine. So we first check the condition whether or not the weather equals rainy. If it doesn't, then we move on to the else statement, where it will always execute this statement. only when this statement is false. So if this is false, then it will always execute this statement that's under the else. But if the weather was rainy indeed, then it will execute this statement and not this. So if we change this to rainy and we run this, then it will run this statement. But if it does not match any other statement, then it will always run the else statement. We can use and to combine multiple condition statements together. So let's say we want to check two specific conditions, which is the temperature. And we're going to give that a temperature of 22 and a value of is raining. And we're going to set that to a true or false. So we're going to say it's true. And let's say we have a condition that if the temperature is greater than 20 and is raining equals true, then we print warm but rainy. Let's fix that. And so when we run this, it runs warm but rainy. So basically using the and statement, we could have two conditions that we could check simultaneously. And if both these conditions are true, then and only then will it execute the code under that if statement. Otherwise, if at least one of these values is false, so if this value is not higher than 20 and we run this, then of course this is not executed because both of these statements have to be true. We can also use or keyword, which is used when only one of multiple conditions needs to be true. So we can slightly change this, and instead of using and, we could use or. So this will now say that either or of these, so either this has to be true or this has to be true in order for this to run. So we could then run this, and now we can see that it has run successfully. But if both of these were false, so let's make this false, and we try to run this, then it won't execute this set of code. So using the or, either one of these can be true in order to run this, but if both of them are false, then this will not run. You can also create nested if statements, which are useful for more specific conditions. Let's say we want to create some kind of conditions for checking what score you got on your test, and based on that we want to provide some kind of information. So let's say you got a score of 92. Now our first if statement will check whether the score is greater than 50. And we want score, not scare. And if it is, then we print great, you passed the test. Now, if the score is also greater than 90, then we want to also print and you scored an A. Else, print that, but try for a higher score next time. And so when we run this, you get great, you passed the test, and you scored an A. So we have our first condition, and if this condition is met, then we enter into this if statement, and then we try to execute what is under this condition. Then we go line by line, and then we have another set of conditions that we have to go through. And since this one got passed and is true, then we print out this one instead of this one. If we, of course, had a score lower than 50, say we had 40, and we try to run this, then of course this would not execute this code because this condition is false. Sometimes you might want to define a conditional structure with no action at all. Now, this might sound strange, but sometimes it's a good placeholder. To do this, let's say, just a simple example, we set the mood equals. Now we have a simple condition that if the mood equals happy, then we use pass. And when we try to execute this, nothing happens. So basically this pass allows for nothing to happen. It's basically a placeholder, we could basically call it, and nothing happens because if we try to leave this empty without having any of the code under this if statement, and we try to run this, then we get a syntax error that it's incomplete, that we're missing something. So let's say we don't know what to execute, we don't know what code we want to write, so we just put a placeholder for now as a pass, and if the condition is true, then it basically does nothing. Become a member at AILearningHub.io and get access to personalized mentor guidance, early access to AI resources, help with AI projects, and a great learning community.